Greetings, everyone.
Hello.
The sound is interesting.
A little bit.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's what matters. Okay, so let me. hold on. Is the music really loud when I do that? It's super loud. It's not. Okay, great. You can still hear me in the music.
It's kind of,
You can hear me now.
yes.
Okay, we're gonna work this out, but I'm about to turn the music off, but we're gonna need it again, so. That's why I want to get it right. Okay, I'll come back to it. It's gonna be perfect when it's time. Okay. All right, you all, greetings. Happy full moon in Scorpio. I'm so excited and terrified at the same time. So appropriate for Scorpio. Okay, so welcome everyone. Tonight, I am Monique, and also I go by Moon Mama. And this morning we had a full lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And so tonight, what I want to do is the first thing I'm going to do is pray us in, like I always do. And then because it's the full moon, I would like to check in and, have some really brief check-ins. And when I say brief, I mean like my cats are about to start acting so crazy right now. Like, okay. So when I say brief, I mean like 2 or 3 minutes check in, not like don't like just be mindful of that. And if somebody's not mindful, I'm gonna just be able to be like, hey, it's cool, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna just gently interrupt because I'm learning how to do that, and it's not always the easiest thing for me. So I feel like I'll let people go on and on, and it's not really the best for the environment. So that's something I'm just saying that out loud. You guys see me struggling with it. So yeah, I'm going to pray. So I'm going to do check-ins, and then we're going to do some movement. We're going to do a little bit of body movement. And if you can't, that's fine. But this energy is so intense that I think it's really significant for us to go into the places in our bodies that we're holding on to and really move that stuff out. And then we'll say goodbye. Okay. So I'm going to pray us in and then we'll get started. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. So I'm going to ask you to come into a seated position, relaxed, close your eyes, breathe in deep into your abdomen, and allow the air to just fill up your belly. So as you breathe in through the nose, the belly extends. And as you breathe out through the mouth, the belly contracts and pull it all, like release all the air that you can. So here we go. Breathe in, hold, and then release. Push it all the way out. Breathe in, hold, and then release. And when you release, you can also do like a Kegel, like you're holding in your urine. You can pull as you release that air all the way out, pull in that perineal area and tighten it. So breathe in, push that belly out, and then release, and then pull in that Kegel, that perineal, as you push all that air out. Pull your stomach in, pull everything in, and then release. And then breathe in, open it back up, wide, wide, wide. Take all the air in you can, and then release. Push it all out. Tighten that Kegel, that perineal, that area that is our sexual creative area. Tight, 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 tight. Release. And then breathe in. And then move into normal breathing. Heavenly Father, Mother God, how good it is to center into the power of who we truly are. How good it is to know that there is only one life and that that life is the life of God, that it is everywhere present, that there is nothing that we can do to separate from the goodness, the reality, the power, the light, the dark that is this universal presence that we call God. But in truth and reality, you can call your own name there because you are the God force embodied. Consciously or unconsciously, you are creating in the image and likeness of God because that is the nature of how you were made. And so I give thanks this night for the power of this Scorpio energy that connects us to our ancestry and that connects us to the power that is deep within us, hidden in the crevices of our fear, of our despair, of our shame, of our regret, of our disappointment. So it is on this night that we get to meet ourselves fully to unleash the power that has been hidden for millennium, for lifetimes, through ancestor from one to the next until it meets us. How wonderful it is that we get to invite ourselves into the depths of our own shadow and our own power, our own experience, to unravel the darkness so that it may become the light, that it may be transmuted in the power of our yes, in the releasing of our regret, in the releasing of things that we have put aside because we just didn't have a container to hold it at the time. But now we meet ourselves, and we meet ourselves as the divine beings that we truly are. We call our own names as we breathe in the life of the force of the universe and release that which no longer serves us. As we pull through that creative portal that is our womb, that is our creative energy, our sexual energy. And as we rise that energy up, raise it up to our heart space, we meet ourselves in the power of love, of compassion, of joy, of peace. And we say yes to the possibilities of what transmuting darkness into light can be. And for this, I am grateful. I'm grateful that we are willing. I'm grateful that we are supported by the ancestors and nature and spirit because we are one with it all. Everything we see is the truth of who we really are. And so for this and so much more, I let it be and I say, and so it is. Ashe. Breathe in, hold, release. Yes. Okay, great. I turned the music off, so that would make sense. Okay, you all. So let's talk a little bit about this energy. Let's talk about the astrology. That's what I forgot to mention, that we're going to talk about the astrology a little bit so that when you come into your sharing, you can have a better understanding of what's impacting you. All right, y'all. So here, let me see how I can do this. So Scorpio rulership. So the energy of Scorpio is really intense, and it's ruled by Pluto now, but it was traditionally ruled by Mars. And Pluto and Mars are both anchored in our sexuality and our attraction. So that's really one of the most significant things about the Scorpio energy, is that it rules our sexual nature, which is our creative power, which is also spiritual power, which is the power that we literally regenerate ourselves with when we begin to understand how this energy works. So Scorpio rules death and life, the death and life cycle. Um, as I have studied astrology and cosmology, what I've discovered, which I kind of already knew, but they don't talk about it in our conventional religious practices, is that we die and we really do come right back again, honestly. Like, I mean, according to that's not always the fact, but according to how the system works, everything is energy and everything just transmutes. There are some things that would have us, I'm sorry, there are some things that would have us not, hold on one second. I'm sorry, I'm going to put my cats away. Just give me a minute. I'll be right back. Their behavior is not working for me. Hold on. All right, y'all have to go. Y'all have to go. It's not working. I give y'all an opportunity to relax and y'all don't. Come on. Thank y'all. Okay. So I think I was saying about our sexual energy, our life force energy, and all of that is one thing. So it all resonates in this scorpionic energy, this ability to be able to regenerate ourselves, to be able to, whether that be through physical death or spiritual deaths, but it's always regenerative. Because that's the nature of this reality. That's how it works, and whether we believe it or whether we're taught it or not, we've been given so much misinformation that it's just important that we all do our research. You got to do your research. Don't take my word for it. That's what I'll say. Don't take my word for it. Learn so that you can understand for yourself. That's what I had to do because nothing felt right to me. So I just finally started really studying so that I could feel better in my body, so that I could feel better in my mind, so that I wasn't always filtering lies or feeling like things don't feel right. And many of us are very empathic and very sensitive. Like, because you're in this community, like, I know that you're sensitive because I am a sensitive being. So I would attract people who would mirror that. Most of us are here on the planet at this time to do work to help other people heal and transform. You might not know that about yourself. You might not think that about yourself, but because I know that I'm a teacher of teachers, like, I know that about myself. You might not think yourself as a teacher or a healer yet, but it doesn't matter. You're in this sphere, right? You're in the sphere that I'm generating. So you might not see yourself that way now, but something will activate you where you begin to see yourself that way, because that's the work that's going on here. And there's no right or wrong. Like, it's not about pressure. It really is just about coming into your authentic self. And Scorpio is the place where we really get to meet the places that we're afraid of, and the things that we've shunned, and the things that we've denied and put away. And so much of that has to do with our sexuality, and what we, and our interpretations of what our sexuality is meant to be. And for many of us as women, we've been shamed into behaviors due to Christianity, due to the male patriarchal perspective that need to control, and the feminine is where everything comes from. So when we are out of alignment with our authenticity, and if everybody could mute themselves, that'd be great. If we're out of alignment with that authenticity of what's really true for us, right? Like what's really true for you in your sensual sexual nature. And that's a process because it's so deeply conditioned. It's not just you're conditioned, your mother was conditioned, your grandmother was conditioned, her mother was conditioned. So you're carrying generations of conditioning. So to find out who you really are, you have to dig. You have to really dig. And, as I started really digging, I started to realize like my pursuit for monogamy was really in reaction to a cultural norm that I was attempting to fit into because I didn't want to seem weird, or, you know what I mean? And so you have to really question your choices and the why of it, and now, like, as I have gotten free in that area, I realize that I love my solitude. It's the thing that I value the most. And, I love having a lover who I'm really excited about. And a part of my ability to be excited about them is that they don't live with me. That's just me, right? But I know that about myself. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not going to judge that about myself. So that's why I'm saying you got to really get into the truth of who you are and do the work to alchemize it, because in the truth of it, you're going to source your power. If you're functioning in ways that are not really aligned to who you're meant to be, your power won't flow. It's like a dam that blocks it. So you've got to get in your truth, your authenticity, so that you can actually be who you're meant to be. You can't be performing. I mean, some of the work is performative. Like when I first started doing this, it was hard for me because I was like, oh, I feel like I'm performing. But I'm not talking about presenting in front of people, like as a present. I'm talking about you can't be performing for your own self to make other people feel good and feel safe. You have to really be in your authenticity, and you can't lie to yourself or the universe. It just won't feel right until you get it. It'll always feel like, I'm not there yet. You can't lie about it. Okay. So like I said, Scorpio rulership: death, life, sex, the occult, alchemy, transformation, power, and inheritances. Inheritances is not just money. It is other people's money, but it's also the gifts that you inherit, the abilities that you inherit, the challenges that you inherit. When our parents don't do their own work, it passes down to the next generation. So at this time on the planet, this is not to be like, my parent, like they left me with all this. They didn't know. Like we know now. They didn't know. And we were all sort of given narratives and belief systems to really protect us, because we were here in this really violent reality and we needed to survive. And so our ancestors gave us things that would help us survive. And so, and so that's what that is. So do your best it doesn't mean don't feel what you feel about growing up in the environment you grew up in. I'm not saying deny it. I'm saying do the work to process it. Okay. Important things to know about this particular full moon eclipse. This energy is asking you to release your old patterns and be renewed. And so because we're in eclipses, eclipses are reboots. It's like, when your computer isn't really working well and you have to shut it down entirely and turn it back on. That's what this is. And our system, whether we understand it or know it or not, because it's energy, not the stuff we see with our eyes, the mundane appears to be fixed and it won't change fast. But the energy is not fixed. And the energy is what really runs this system. And so when we have an eclipse, the energy is shutting down and being rebooted. And we've had the last 3 eclipses in Scorpio and Taurus. So that's when the nodes are moving through. So literally, like, this energy has been so intense. When we had the new moon in Scorpio on the November 20 in November or October of last year, we had the new moon in Scorpio. And now we're having the full moon in Scorpio 6 months later. It's always a new moon, and then 6 months later, we have the full moon. So the full moon is the culmination, right? So whatever your objective and goal was 6 months ago, if you track it, and I just mean gently pay attention to it. You don't need to go hard, right? Just gently pay attention to it, because it's gonna work itself through and become realized. It's like planting a seed and then that seed sprouting. So it's just important to know that we're being really asked to let go of things that we may not have ever thought we were going to let go of, that we didn't even know that we were holding on to. And it's ways that you were leaking your power. So for me, the thing that I have seen is that I really had a deep-seated need for male approval, for men to approve of me, deep in me. I didn't know it. I was blind to it. And in that new moon in Scorpio, it showed up. And I was like, fuck, it showed up. And all of a sudden, I was wrestling between caring about what somebody thought and me being true to myself. And it was a war. And I have finally, I can see the results of me staying true to myself in this full moon, in the culmination. And it has been rigorous because Scorpio is the shadow. So it's the stuff that you've been pushing away and running from and all of that. So just pay attention to where that's showing up in your life. This energy will begin ushering in your deepest subconscious beliefs. The reason I'm saying that is because this energy came in on a Saturn hour, and Saturn is currently in Pisces. So our subconscious is coming to the surface with this energy. And so just pay attention to what's going on in your life. Just pay attention and begin to realize that everything in your life is somehow a product of your subconscious. And if you can't get this concept, go watch the movie Inception. It is a perfect experience of it, because we tend to think that we're separate. And it makes sense that you would think that, because that's what it appears with your eyes. But because I said everything is energy, we're not separate. And so by the time things show up in the mundane world, you can't really perceive the totality of it, but the energy tells you the truth about it. And as women, it's subconscious. We are projecting the reality from our feelings, y'all, from what we deeply, deeply feel. And that is not to scare you. I think I just saw a couple of people take a deep breath. That is not to scare you. That is to just have you understand how powerful you are. That is to help you forgive yourself and be joyful about coming into alignment with the truth of who you are. And to know that the universe is on your side. Everything is working in your favor in this way. So you can breathe lightly. It's important to know what feels good in your body and what does not. This is such a big deal in this energy, because Scorpio governs our second chakra, which is our sexual energy, our pleasure center. So it's important to really be connected in your own sexuality and center in your body to know what is pleasurable and what is not. I mean, you got to own that, because that's where your creative power is. That's not just about physical sex. That's about ecstasy and being able to allow the universe to flow through you. And sometimes with Scorpio, it's allowing the pain to feel good. It's allowing, it's Scorpio's a little sadistic, y'all, and that's all good. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay. And we have to be willing to be with the pain. We have to be, because if you're running from pain, then you're running from power. I'm so grateful that I have walked through this with such detail, because I get it. And there was a time in my life when I was just so at odds with pain, physical pain, almost to the point of making myself lazy, right? Just discomfort, right? Just if it was hard, I didn't want to do it. And some of that, so I got to get clear. And it's because I'm really sensitive. I feel things in a greater way than most people do. So I've had to make peace with that. So I understand that I need to measure my energy. I don't want to blow my senses out, right? But I still do have to do hard things. So I do it at the rate that I can, so that I can build my resistance and build my ability to hold stuff. And we have to do that. I know we're women, most of us are melanated women. And even if you're not melanated, but you're just very sensitive. You can feel everything. So what happens is we begin to desensitize ourselves because it's so hard to feel so much. So you have to create safe spaces for you to be able to feel your feelings and be with it. Be with the ugly cry, be with the ugly feelings, you got to be with it. You cannot run from it, because that's a part of your power. It really is. And you have to be able to run negative charge and positive charge through your system. And it's slow and gentle. You don't have to do it all at once, but gradually you get yourself there. And one of the ways to do that is with cold water. It's just, I sit my ass in cold water. I hate it, but it gives me the ability to be able to sit through other discomforting things. And it like stretches me. It makes me stronger. And I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. So yes, we have to be able to be with duality, is what I'm trying to say. You must, because that's the nature of the reality that we're in. So silence is also key to knowing and listening to your body, mind, and spirit self. Being willing to talk to yourself and listen and ask questions, and like, don't care what anybody thinks about it. Like, talk to yourself. You have all the answers. You really do. Nobody knows. Your astrology, like, I can look and point you in the direction, and it might be spot on. But when you dig into it, you're gonna find some more that I couldn't see. That's just how it is. So it's really important that you really take it on for yourself. And then the last thing, the divine feminine is returning through you and your feelings, imagination, and perception. So this energy that's coming in, that is about our senses and our feelings, this is feminine energy. And there's so much out in the internet now about feminine energy, and I just love it. There's this one video lately where Iyanla was talking about listening and being able to listen, and I think that's really powerful. Being able to be quiet, to be able to listen, which is what I was just saying. But it's important for us to know that the feminine will take your fucking head off. The feminine is not just soft and silent. The feminine will kick your motherfucking ass and send you into the abyss so deep and dark that you don't even know. That's why men oftentimes afraid of women who really are anchored in their power because it's so mysterious. The feminine will cut you until you bleed and you don't even know what fucking hit you, right? Like the feminine is a warrior of all. The feminine is a warrior that you don't even see coming. So this energy of the feminine, this return of the feminine really invites us into a profoundly expanded awareness of every aspect of who we are. Every aspect. The feminine is as much Kali as it is Oshun. She will love you up and nurture you and have babies for you, and she will kill you when you are sleeping. And that is the truth. And nobody talks about that stuff, like the nature, and kill you for a good reason. That's the thing. She's not going to just kill you because she don't like you. She's going to kill you because you're not serving the purpose. And so it's important for us to really understand our own feminine energy so that we can command it and own it and use it as it's required, as we're being asked to use it. Because the world is changing. Sometimes I'm just in awe of how much the world is changing right now. And it's all very interesting. So with that, I'm going to invite us into sharing. If you could limit your sharing to 1 minute at the most, maybe, 2 at the most. And I'm going to invite you to share like what's coming up for you, what you want to release. I asked you guys to bring journals. So after we do this, after we talk a little bit about what we're releasing, we are going to do some movement and really get into our bodies and meet ourselves for the purpose of really inviting death to come for the parts of ourselves that we're ready to release. Okay, so with that, who wants to go first? And you guys, come on now, like just come on.
I'll go
Okay,
first.
go ahead.
I am really being invited at work to kind of not give a fuck in a certain sense. I used to be in this frame of mind of always being afraid that I was going to get fired because I did something wrong, or just taking on responsibility for things that are not my responsibility. And while I recognize that I've created the experience that I'm having, I'm also recognizing where, taking note of, okay, what resonates with me in the uncomfortable things, what are the things that are happening that I may need to look at within myself. And then I'm just realizing, there are some things that are just not mine. They just happen to be in the experience. And maybe they're in the experience to show me what is not mine, what I've already let go of and no longer need to put attention on. So it's just really interesting to be in this space, kind of like you said, like Kali, where it's like, I'm just saying things as I see them, but in a way that it's not like, it's more like, this is my experience and this is what I can't take, So it's really interesting. And I'm seeing also coincidences. I did an Akashic reading. In that reading, the reader didn't understand why they were saying the word Shutters. And Shutters is a hotel in LA. And I was asking about my music career. And I said to her, oh, I'm thinking of wanting to perform there. And she says, oh my God, I wondered why they kept saying Shutters. I couldn't understand. And then I had a meeting with a client this week. Somehow he brings into the conversation that he knows the owner of the hotel. So I'm seeing the synchronicities happen while I'm in this place at work that normally would have made me very scared and closed.
Mm.
And I recognize how I'm staying in my power and not shutting down and still continuing. I'm like, okay, I created this, and now I'm going to create the next thing, whether it be within this environment or another thing, but I'm creating something that I prefer to experience.
Ashe. Powerful.
Thank
Thank
you.
Who's next?
I'll go. Hello, everyone.
Okay, who's that?
Mahi.
Hi, Mahi. How are you?
Hi. I haven't been able to make these live meditations with community in a minute, so I'm very excited and grateful to be here. And what's been going on with me is a very interesting experience where I feel very present and aware of where I'm at, but physically I feel myself like unable to do anything. I just feel like a part of me knows that there is no going back, but I'm not quite ready to do the difficult and necessary work to move forward. And I find myself like regressing comforts or patterns of behavior that I would normally judge, but I'm just kind of allowing and more sitting with and examining. So that's been one experience. Another has been, I've been feeling called to move. That and realizing how, for me, I have this experience of like throwing myself into really difficult situations, and in some ways finding that like that's when I feel most powerful, when I'm just like really broke and in a city I don't know and I don't have any resources. That's almost when I can like source my magic. And it's interesting. And in some ways I feel like the call to just be and to not do anything is almost like my subconscious like preparing myself for this new chapter, this new challenge I'm about to step into. And yeah, just also realizing like a lot of us have been talking about this experience with food as a comfort, as an escape. And for me, I think like watching TV, and specifically like really terrible like rom-coms and period films that like I wouldn't even tell my friends, but really like examining that and realizing like when things feel difficult, like not only do I look for an escape, but the escape is towards stories where I'm looking to be like saved, which is interesting. So yeah, I'm out here. Thank you for allowing me to share.
You're welcome. Ashe. Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I think a lot of stuff has been coming up. I've been dealing with food stuff. I've been watching Disney movies all week and just looking for comfort. A lot of Moana, a lot of Encanto, which has been great. But I think ultimately this feels like a time of letting go of old stories of powerlessness. There's still a lot of that lingering. Well, not a lot of it has shifted, but there's still that coming up from childhood of like, I'm in danger because I'm not in power. Someone else is in control. So I'm having a back and forth a lot with like, no, that's not true. You created this. No, this sucks. This feels like someone else is doing it to me. This person can hurt me. This work situation can hurt me. So the snapback is getting faster. Like I'm like, nope, that's an old story, but it's still there. So I'm looking forward to watching more of it die out.
Ashe. Who's next?
Thank you for this. I wanted to say
Say who you are. Say who you are, please.
greetings everyone. My name is Chameleon.
Greetings.
I have to definitely co-sign what Sis Shannon just said as far as the overcoming powerlessness. I spoke a little bit about, well, a lot about my experience in Egypt. And I feel like it was definitely a precursor of an opportunity of what to deal with now at this stage, at this point. And I'm working on a project that initially I was going to be very much detached from. And one of the things that I have been learning about while embracing my moon, my Scorpio moon, also learning to embrace my Leo sun, the value of that. And so I'm going to be more transparent and authentic and tell my story in this project as well. If my goal is to propel our conversations in our community and to promote healing for both men and women, then I feel the best way to be, air quotes, a Leo, which is a leader, the sun, shining light on things, illuminating things, living from the heart. And that would be telling my story, being transparent and inspirational for others as well. And to come from a space of unapologeticness, of this is my story, this is the trauma that I'm working to heal, as well as coming from a space of releasing the concerns of judgment, but focusing more on a healthy disposition of building community. And that would be, connecting with that heart space, that genuine space of I'm a person seeking compassion and grace. I am not my wrongs. I am not my trauma. And so thus I am deserving of love and acceptance as I am in expressing myself through this journey. It feels really good to be able to even own that I am a creative. So much of my life has been business oriented. And this is definitely a journey of the spirit, connecting with the ancestors. I've been on this for a minute and it feels so right, So yeah, that's me. Thank you for
Thank
allowing me
you.
to speak.
Of course. Thank you so much. Ashe. It's powerful. Thank you, Chameleon. Who's next? If nobody else wants to share, we can just move into our practice. But if somebody else does, speak now, forever hold your peace.
Can I share?
Come on.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Is that Rosalie? I can't hear you.
It is. Can you hear me now?
Better, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I have not been doing well.
Mm.
I'm mourning a 10-year relationship, but for its own good. For its own good.
Mhm.
And I know this. Part of me does. So I guess every time I get into a space of peace with one thing, is like the retrograde, something else. Like, oh, you're good at that? Now, how about your relationship with your daughter? So I'm like trying to anchor a place of stillness so that I'm not emotionally reacting to things that I need to learn from. Because it's sort of like if you react emotionally, you got to take things back and you can't really learn from what's going on.
Mm.
Also, I realized that my sexuality has been in prison and I can't I can't be with these like patriarchal societal like structures around me. Like there's no way to be my authentic self in monogamy. There's no way to be my authentic self as like an American woman that is not uh of color, that is
Mhm,
not in the norm.
mhm,
So I just I want to release the prison. I want to open my sexuality and just be able to not apologize and be myself and not worry about hurting other people's feelings or what are people going to think. So I'll just leave that there so that I'm not going on and on. But I want to thank everyone, especially you, Moon Mama.
mm. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for that vulnerable share. We're all vulnerably sharing, just so you know, but I hear you. And when we first start the work, it's interesting because it's kind of like a crash course a bit. So Ashe, thank you. Anyone else want to share? Nobody? Okay. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so I want you to take out your piece of paper and I just want you to write down, like I'm going to go really fast. This is not going to be, and you can't get it wrong because we're all in this together. And what we do together, we're all doing it. We're all benefiting from it, right? So everything that everybody shared just now, because we're connected, we're all releasing the thing that the other person is releasing, or at some level. That's just how it works when we come together as a group. You can't, because we're all connected. So you cannot get it wrong. And because we're also at a time on the planet where it's just a lot of clearing going on. We're in a time of deep transformation. So everybody's doing it. And the work that you do for yourself benefits your children. It benefits your neighbors. It benefits the people you work with. They don't know it. They ain't gonna never say thank you. Probably. They might. I don't want to say that. That's not true. But most, it's just it's important for you to recognize that your work matters. So you don't have to hold back. You can't get it wrong. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And when you feel safer, honor how you feel, right? So if you don't feel safe sharing things with people that are close to you, don't. It's nobody's business. If you do feel safe, make sure you're sharing with people that can hold space for you, right? Um, if you don't have people you can share with, come share in the community because we're all doing this work together. We all get it. We all are in it on one level or another. You know what I mean? And this community at Follow the Sun is really about us practicing learning how to be with the energy because that's the true reality. And and the more you individually begin to trust your feelings. I hear people say things, like your feelings don't mean shit. Feelings are ruled by Venus and they mean everything. They might not mean anything for somebody else. Like how I feel really doesn't mean anything to anybody else. It doesn't. And I know that. But there was a time when I thought that my feelings had to be addressed by other people. I am responsible for my feelings. I am. And so in this work, your relationship to yourself is so primary. It is so primary. And Rosalia was saying something about the emotions, like the emotional reactions that are coming up and how she doesn't want to double injure a situation basically by reacting emotionally and making it worse, so to say, like saying something she can't take back, or right, feeling right. So in that, that's a behavior of suppressing. That's a pattern that you have of caring about what other people think over what you're really feeling. And so in those experiences, it's like being afraid to fart out loud. You know what I mean? We all are. Nobody farts out loud, but it has to come out. It has to come out. Even if you hold it, the minute the room is clear, you're going to let that shit out, right? Because it has to come out. Your emotions are the same way. When you stuff your emotions, they become disease. They become depression. They become fear. They become this intense energy and anxiety, right? So this is an opportunity for you to see that, for all of us, because we all do it. I'm really speaking to us all right now. This thing of not really allowing ourselves to let our emotions flow. And how can we do it in a safe way? Can you go into the bathroom and scream? Can you go into a pillow? Can you go out for a walk? But if you just suppress your emotions, you are your own worst enemy. All of us. All of us. So the work is to go like, well, what is it that I'm really feeling right now? What is that I'm really feeling? And get clear about what you're feeling. And then meet your needs, right? So I'm feeling really angry. Okay, well, what do I need right now? I need to cry. Cry. I need to be left the fuck alone. Tell everybody to leave you the fuck alone. I need to go out and, have a healthy drink or go for a run or do some breath work or dance, right? But what you're doing in that is you're meeting your emotions. And that is what we're going to do right now. So if you have your piece of paper, I want you to write down, like, I'm going to mention some words associated with our Scorpio energy. And I want you to write down whatever comes up. And this is not going to be a long time to do it. Like, so, spend 20 seconds, whatever comes up. You could write down a color or a feeling, whatever comes up. Don't overthink it. Like, because we're really going to just give ourselves permission to dive in. And if you write with your left hand, that will give you your subconscious. Like, that's your real true energy. And so I'm going to say some things and you just tell me, you just write down what comes up. Shame. Shame. When you hear the word shame, what comes up for you? Fear. When you hear the word fear, what comes up for you? What happens in your body? What happens in your mind? What comes up for you? Doubt. When you hear the word doubt, where does that live in your system? Regret. Where is regret living in your reality? What comes up when you hear regret? Like, my body is starting to heat up as I say these words. Disappointment. Disappointment. Jealousy. What comes up when you hear the word jealousy? Who comes to mind when you hear these words? Unforgiveness. What comes up when you hear the word unforgiveness? betrayal. Who betrayed you? Did you betray yourself? Who betrayed you? What comes up when you hear the word betrayal? Scarcity. What comes up when you hear the word scarcity? All right. So these are all aspects of our shadow. There's much more. I could go on and on and on, but we're not going to do that. But we're going to just, in the future, you can, other things that come up, you can find ways or do this, what we're going to do now, to meet yourself. So I am going to put on some music. Let's see. Oh, that's what I had done wrong. Y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can't see anybody. Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. All right. So we're gonna get up, and everybody can turn their cameras off. I see if nobody, but it's fine. I have no problem with that at all. And we're going to move our body. I'm going to lead. So the idea is that we are going to feel and dance this energy through our bodies. And so whatever you're holding, whatever the fear is, right? Like feel the fear, feel what it feels like. And just allow your body to just move, like turn your hips and make faces. Like what does fear feel like in your body? Meet it. Because in the feeling of it, actually release it. So we're working with fear. Swing your hips. Move your head from left to right. Let that fear just move through you and make sounds. Ah, ah. Until it really loosens up. Allow yourself to really loosen up. All right, and now we're gonna meet betrayal. Betrayal, like when somebody, you can't hear, she can't hear me. She said, but I also can't hear. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
Because
Okay.
it's weird, but we can
Can
hear.
hear you, but not the music.
You can hear me, but not the music. Oh, I want you to hear the music. Hold
It was
on.
there for a minute, like the beat was sort of faintly there and then it went away.
Really?
So you remember the last time when your friend was doing the meditation, she couldn't wonder why she couldn't hear the music? I think it's
Mhm.
because only when you're playing the music, I think you can only hear the music when you're speaking for some reason.
Oh, can you hear the music now when I'm
Like when you
speaking?
start to speak, I can hear the music, but when you're not saying anything, we can't hear the music.
Okay, great. So I will just sit with you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna meet betrayal. And betrayal is this energy that is really dark because it comes out of nowhere. It appears to come out of nowhere. It appears that it sneaks up on you and it's when you least expect it. So how does that feel in your body? Allow that to move through you, like turn your shoulders back, like circle your shoulders, going back and forward, back and forward. Just moving that betrayal energy out of your system. And then circle your head around to the left and around to the right. Moving betrayal out of your mind. And then your hips. Really allowing your hips to just sway left and right. And then just shake. Just shake, just allow your body to vibrate. Let your feet be planted firm and just shake from your hips down to your ankles, shaking, releasing betrayal. And now disappointment. Disappointment is something that we hold in our heart. It literally just steals the energy of joy from us. So I want you to open your chest wide, open it back, and then come and fold over. Open it wide, opening up the chest, releasing disappointment, maybe tapping your heart a little bit, your heart area, the left-hand side, and just tapping that energy right on out. Woo. Releasing disappointment, releasing all of those things that we wanted that didn't happen the way we wanted them to happen. We put away our deep desires because we got used to things not being what we really wanted them to be. Release that. And allow your body to just move. Woo! Releasing, releasing, releasing. Unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is something that really has nothing to do with anybody else. Really, this opportunity to free ourselves. We're not really forgiving anybody else. We're really just forgiving ourselves for allowing people into our space that would actually do things that would harm us. So at the end of the day, we're releasing, we're forgiving ourselves. So I invite you to just march your feet left and right. And as you march your feet, you are stepping over the old patterns of holding on to things that don't serve you. You are stepping over the old identities that no longer meet you as who you really are. You're allowing yourself to step into not giving a fuck about things that don't matter to you and that don't have anything to do with you. And you're also stepping away from the ways that you denied yourself in the past. The ways that you have put your sensual sexual energy away to make other people comfortable. Release that. step over it. And I will invite you to like spin your hips, right? Because that is the hips where we hold all this stuff, the pelvic floor, the unforgiveness, the sexual shame, the powerlessness, the creative ideas that don't get blurred, that don't get to come into life, all get stuck in our womb area. So just shake your hips. Just shake your hips and your hip area so strong that you can feel the flesh of your buttocks vibrating. Just shake it. Just imagine everything coming out. All the unforgiveness, all of the betrayal, all of the denial, all of the sadness, just flowing out this area of your body. And release and shake. Ah, and make sounds. Ah. Allow your throat chakra to release. So many of us don't say what we need to say. So many of us have taught ourselves to just push it down. So when we make sounds out of our throat chakra, it gives us the opportunity to really get it out. And it doesn't have to be words. Sometimes you just need to moan. Oh, like pain, but also like orgasm, like ecstasy, like pleasure. And you don't always have to be in bed with somebody to have that kind of ecstasy and pleasure. You can have ecstasy and pleasure from your own power, from your own accomplishments, from your own love, from your forgiving yourself and loving yourself. So just shake it. Woo! All right. So allow yourself to come to a slow down. You're going to slow down. We're going to breathe and just track your breath. Take a sigh. Bring your head. Move from the left shoulder to the right. Lift up your arms. Down. Lift them up. And down. Allow yourself to slow down. And deeply. Now give yourself a big hug. Wrap your arms around your like this. And just give yourself a big hug. Say, I love you. I forgive you. I trust you. You belong to you. You are enough. Right. So take this full moon energy and allow yourself, allow yourself to come into alignment with your power just by setting intention. My intention is to be aligned with my power. My intention is to be activated in my purpose. My intention is to be one within myself and with the higher consciousness of the universe. For this and so much more, I give thanks, I let it be, and I say, and so it is. Ashe, y'all. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you for putting up with my music and stuff like that. I'm gonna work this out one day. It will get worked out. All right, you all. Peace and blessings. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Peace.
Thank you. Peace,
you.
everyone.